It's the boy, Bubba, let's coming through. Hella clutch, flawless, can't be touched. It's your boy, Bubba, let's. Yeah, I need that hot take. I need the truth and everything that is not fake. So tell me who's the goal.
Hello, Bubba Bunch, and welcome back to another episode of the Bubba Let's Sports Podcast. It is episode 198, and today we have a very special guest returning from a long time ago. And, you know, for his opening statement, Eddie Gonzalez, take it away.
We haven't played great football. Don't ask me who's going to be the starting quarterback next week. The game just ended. Tired of all these questions. Look, the money is what it is. We spent the last 4 years selling out. We went to 3 Super Bowls, went to 4 Super Bowls, won 3, went to an AFC championship. I don't know what else you expect. We're in this situation because of, we sold out all those years. And, if you see the 6 banners that we have in our stadium, that's a good indication of that it was money well spent. So look, we'll be okay. Stop asking me questions.
One more question. Jets matchup, week 17. How you feeling?
The Jets are a good football team. They've been playing real well. They've beaten some good teams the past couple of weeks. They're getting hot. Sam Darnold, I think he doesn't have mono anymore, so he's fine. Adam Gase seems to have figured out how to coach, and
even more dangerous.
It's gonna be interesting. We'll see. We'll probably lose it on purpose to get a higher draft pick.
Bill, what do you talk about with your son at home? When you're not talking football.
All we talk is football.
Beautiful. Thanks, Bill.
Yeah.
That was the voice of Eddie Gonzalez, the OG guest on the Bubba Let's Sports Podcast from many years ago. Back when it was a dorm room at UNT, a toilet literally 3 feet away, being flushed in the background.
Yep.
If you were there, you know.
Never forget.
Never forget.
11.
You were. Don't fucking know.
I think I was on the 8th floor, so like 8, 12, I don't know, something like that.
I believe that. Sounds legit. But hey, man, look, it's been a rough year for all of us. And if you would have told me that the Cowboys and the Patriots would be right there with each other as far as record goes, as far as performance goes, I would have been like, you know what? It's going to be a good season.
Because you would have thought you would have been good.
Yeah. But here we are, How's that? How about we just, make a treaty and we just get Dak to New England? How'd you feel about that?
I think that would work, but you got to get weapons, man. Doesn't matter who you put in there as quarterback. Just no one to fucking throw to. Like, tight ends. I mean, Devin Asiasi, we haven't seen much of him. He played like every single snap last night, and he had.
I heard his name maybe called once, twice.
3 targets, no completions, and that's been the storyline of like this whole season. It's trying to get the tight ends involved. Obviously, guys like Jacoby Myers made a name for himself this season.
Yeah,
he stood out really nice. Damiere Byrd, he's really fast, but I don't think he's really a threat. So it's kind of like, but he has that relationship with Cam Newton, of course, because of Carolina, so that kind of helped. N'Keal Harry, up until 3 weeks ago, he was just kind of like a blocking wide receiver. But now, little by little, like, he's starting to come into his own. I think the comments by Michael Irvin helped. I don't know if he heard them, but I feel like he did. Because as soon as those comments came out, he started playing better. He started playing more physical, more tough, like running like through people. But it's just hard to get him the ball when, you only have like a second to throw and he's not getting open. So.
Well, I mean, look, we just talked about it, how we feel about this year's kind of done for. They have the Week 17 matchup against the Jets, and honestly, if I'm the Patriots, I know tanking isn't usually their thing. I think it's the Jets' thing, but getting that 9th overall pick instead of the 14th overall pick is better for them. I still, like, in the back of my mind, I still feel like Bill Belichick will just do something completely different, like he did with Kyle Duggar, and Kyle Duggar's worked out tremendously. We'll get to him in a little bit. But, like, just the idea of them drafting a wide receiver that high is just so unlike Bill, in my opinion. So I don't know what they plan on doing. But, like, I think this year it was bound to happen considering that you've had 20 years of just pure excellence and perfection in New England. That if you we all get one, right? We all get that one year where we're just okay, let's back it up. Let's just start fresh. And like this whole conversation watching that game last night, because Bills just trounced the Patriots. Like the Bills are super hot. They look like they can beat the Kansas City Chiefs. And New England just kind of left out there in the dust, third in the AFC East. But look, I think they've played good football this entire year. Like they play hard. Even though they don't have the offense to match it, their defense to me is still really good with all those opt-outs. That's why I feel like next year they'll be better because they'll get a lot of those guys back. You got to re-sign J.C. Jackson. You really have to. That man is just an absolute beast at creating turnovers.
Got torched yesterday though, but hey,
okay. Hey, man, hey, it happens, right? But
when he's the number one guy, he's not a number one guy.
He's not. No.
So with Stephon Gilmore back and he's the number 2, oh, he's a perfect number 2.
Mm-hmm.
He is. But as a number 1 guy, we saw it yesterday.
It's hard because it's Stephon Diggs, and this man is just racking up the numbers every week. So, I mean, I feel good about the Patriots going forward. You say it's going to take more than a year. I'd say give it next year, and we won't see the Patriots back in the Super Bowl. But I'm saying they'll still be in contention to make the playoffs and make a good run.
Yeah.
Obviously, the elephant in the room is Cam Newton or their quarterback situation. You know how I feel about Cam Newton, and I would say I'm correct about Cam Newton. I've always been. But, in my opinion, Cam Newton's probably going to be the starter next year.
I think the thing with Cam Newton is he kind of gets like a bad rap, and he's kind of put in a bad situation. I mean, I think everyone expected, since it's New England and it's Bill Belichick, for it to just kind of work right away. But
yeah.
You got to remember there was no preseason. We signed him late, so he didn't get a chance to, get with the team until like a month before the season started. And even then, they're not allowed to, hang out with each other outside of the facilities. So he couldn't really build those relationships, which he did though during practice and stuff. He didn't get a chance to play in the preseason games or get a chance to get acclimated to like the New England culture and the New England like playbook and stuff like that. And Josh McDaniels didn't get a chance to really figure out what he had in Cam. They really hadn't seen Cam like only in the practice field. It was until like, the first 4 or 5 games where they were like, oh, okay, so you can still run the ball well. Okay, you could do this well. Oh, you can still throw a deep ball really well. Okay. So little by little, they were still trying to figure it out. It's hard to figure out what you have in a player when you get down by like 17 early on and you're like, oh shit, like what do we do now? So you kind of have to revert back and just, all right, now we've got to play catch up. That's why in games like when they blew out the Raiders or when they blew out the Chargers recently, you saw them kind of running plays that they hadn't run all season, but it was because they had that wiggle room to, hey, let's try this play out. It doesn't work. It's fine. We're up by 30, or let's run this play. Oh, it doesn't work. We're up by 20, whatever, like that's why in those games you saw them running the plays that worked because they were trying to figure out, or plays that didn't work because they were trying to figure out what they had in Cam and really what they had in their offense. The thing with, with New England is I think they didn't figure out their identity and they were trying to be like a play action team, kind of like the Titans are, like run first and then play action. But when the run game wouldn't go, they would revert back to what they were for, 20 years, where it's just pass, pocket pass, pocket pass, pocket pass. And Cam Newton's not a pocket passing quarterback. We all know that.
Right.
It's obvious. Those little short passes, that's not him. That's not a play style, a play calling that caters to him. And you see, he fucking throws it, hits the ground because he's not used to throwing balls like that. Tom Brady, that's his bread and butter right there, Boom. That's why James White didn't have as many receptions as he has in years past, because that's what would work for New England. So when we'd go down by 17, what would Josh McDaniels do? Revert back to what he knew and revert back to what he knew worked. But the person that made that work was Tom Brady, because he would make those short little passes and boom, 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 eat up the yardage. Death by 1,000 cuts, whatever you want to call it. But that's not the thing with Cam Newton. That's why when Cam Newton would throw a deep ball, it was a beautiful deep ball and it'd be completion, like stuff like that. Because Cam Newton's not good at short passes, maybe even like medium passes like that. But deep passes and he's good at. And that's what the Patriots failed to do, I think, is failed to run plays, cater to him, which is not entirely Josh McDaniels' fault or Bill Belichick's fault. It's just there was no one to throw to. You only have like 2 seconds to throw the ball. And if you don't have players getting to those spots, like you kind of have to hold on to it and gotta wait for something to happen. And oh, shit, gotta run now. And Cam Newton run out. And, he gained like 2-3 yards. And that's the best he could have done. Of course, he's thrown some bad balls, as every quarterback has, but I just think the situation's bad, and I think that's why Bill Belichick hasn't played Jarrett Stidham either, because he knows, like, no matter who I put in that fucking offense, like, it's not gonna work. Like, it's not gonna, unless it's like a generational talent, Tom Brady had the same offense last year, actually more players than there are now, and he had a better defense to keep him in games and stuff. So we're seeing what last year's team was supposed to be, but the only reason it was decent is because we had like a third place schedule, and so it was an easier schedule, and Tom Brady was there, and he was doing what he does best and keeping like the team in games. That's why come playoff time when we played the Titans, like it was like, no, you're not supposed to be here. We lost in the wild card. Like it was like, oh, okay, we're not that good, even though we were 12-4. So this year it's just, I think we're seeing what this New England team was supposed to be last year. So,
yeah, the opt-outs definitely don't help at all, because a lot of that goes through the defense. I mean, you got Dante Hightower, you have all these guys from the secondary. It's a matter of time before that collapses to where they went from like one of the best defenses we've seen for a good stretch of time last year to now being like, you could see those moments of like, oh, they're a good defense, and then they're like, oh, okay, this is where they're lacking. But
yeah, definitely.
I mean, I'm not going to disagree with you on the fact that they just don't have anyone to throw to. They've had Julian Edelman basically on IR the entire season. He cannot get healthy, and to bring him back and have to be the number one guy, he's just not that, in my opinion. He's a great wide receiver, but he needs the accompaniment of like someone else, of a, I don't know, like if you want to put Jacoby Myers in there, but it's whatever. But like in past years, whether it's Malcolm Mitchell, Gronk,
Yeah.
like it needs someone there. It's a collective unit, like it is for the running backs. Like any given week, you can have James White go off, Rex Burkhead. Right now, it's Sony Michel that's playing really good coming back from injuries. And then at the beginning of the season, Damian Harris was absolutely insane. But it's a collective unit. It's not just one guy that can do all the work. So, I mean, honestly, what's really interesting about the Patriots was, like, whether it's a win or a loss, like, they always stuck to their guns of, like, run first. Like, even in that Chargers game, I was like, they didn't do anything different in their playbook. They just were just so mismatched with the Chargers that it just worked in their favor. So they never had to go to anything else. Like their 45 points, some of that came from special teams, but really it was like running game first. And some of that was passing, but it was like you're going to utilize your running backs all day, every day. And the Chargers just can't stop it. And sometimes in their losses, that's what killed them. They just stuck to their running backs and they were behind too early. And Cam Newton just can't do that work to get back to the game. So, I mean, I think the future is really good in New England, because you know how much I've praised Josh Uche and Kyle Duggar. Chase Winovich is an absolute monster. That's why I feel like they're going to be fine. It's just maybe get a few skill players, whether that's Odell in free agency, which to me makes all the sense in the fucking world. If you
like Cam,
if it's literally Cam and OBJ, I'm like, okay, I am taking that. Cam will succeed, and I will say like he is now average to above average in my opinion with OBJ.
Yeah. Like with Cam, the thing is like if the defense is really good, and that's why I think like all the opt-outs and stuff, like we don't keep them. I think if we get a higher draft pick, I honestly think Bill Belichick will take a defensive player. Honestly, like that might be one of the reasons. Like he might take one of like a defensive end or something, because he knows what he has in Chase Winovich, Josh Uche, Kyle Duggar, like young guys that I don't think would have had an opportunity had it been for those. Like, if those opt-outs didn't opt out, they wouldn't have had an
Oh
opportunity
yeah,
to
you
show what they
definitely
have.
wouldn't see Kyle Duggar for most of the year.
So it's kind of like it was like a blessing in disguise. It's like, okay, we had all these opt-outs, but we got to see, Kyle Duggar more. So it's like, okay, kind of works out. And if you want to create more cap space, you get rid of, Donta Hightower, Patrick Chung, um, like big name guys that, did a lot for New England and the defense and stuff. And you can probably get a good amount of stuff for them from different teams who, need that veteran presence in their locker room in a guy like Donta Hightower and Patrick Chung. But what I think, like I said, Bill Belichick's going to take a defensive player in the draft, like high up in the draft. That's what I think is going to happen. And if Odell comes to the Patriots because of Cam Newton, I mean, I don't expect Cam Newton to be like, an elite level quarterback and, playing like he was his MVP year. Really, that's not needed from him if, the Bill Belichick builds the defense back up to what it was or kind of what it was. And the run game is, I mean, we're set with that. As long as we can get the offensive line healthy, we sign Odell, maybe one other, player and a tight end. Cam Newton doesn't need to play, like perfect. He doesn't need to play like elite like he has had to in Carolina or even like what people expected him to do this year. It's like, he just kind of gets to play, which is exactly what's needed.
Yeah, it opens up the playbook tremendously because now it's like you actually run passing plays that are designated for one wide receiver. It's not just see who's open. But
Yeah, and that's all it is.
I think if you add any receiver, and you even mentioned going tight end Kyle Pitts in the first round, I'd say you can get him in the second round, no problem. That way you can actually get a tight end that plays very well. Adding anything, it makes it easier for Julian Edelman. It makes it easier for Dante Moncrief. Makes it easier for Damiere Byrd and for Jacoby Myers.
Yeah.
So I think in general it's like this kind of like a reality check for the Patriots of like, I know, Bill, that you've been doing certain things. Josh McDaniels, you've been doing certain things for this amount of time with Tom Brady. It's like, well, that's kind of gone. I think Monday Night Football crew just did overboard or went overboard with the fact that, like, Tom Brady's gone, people. And I was
I
like,
wanted to mute it, bro. Like,
I mean, they're not the best. I mean, cool graphics. That was funny, but
I like Louis Riddick, but the other guys, like, I just don't like the ESPN crew. I just don't like ESPN in general.
It's like, we get it. Like, Tom Brady's gone, but let's.
Week 16, we know.
Yeah, it's just like we need to move on. Like the Bill Belichick and the Patriots are trying to move on. Why aren't you? Like, we get it. Tom Brady's gone, and they're missing a quarterback. If it was like Cam Newton that was balling out, Jarrett Stidham that was balling out, they would have been like, Tom Brady would have never been mentioned. But it's because of their struggles that they're assuming it's because of Tom Brady. And a little bit is it. Like, is the fact that he's gone because the playbook and the way that you're play calling, you're kind of just settling for Cam Newton and Jarrett Stidham. But you just can't think that way when you're trying to run a football team. And I don't think Bill's doing that. So,
Well, I just think, like, with Josh McDaniels and Bill Belichick, I mean, it was a 20-year run or whatever, and, we can't say Tom Brady didn't help build that system. Obviously, he did. He had a lot of input and stuff. So it's kind of like, in those panic situations, you kind of revert back to what you know and you revert back to, like...
you find your scapegoat.
Yeah, and right now, the scapegoat doesn't really work with Cam Newton because Cam Newton's, like, the opposite of what Tom Brady is, So it's kind of like what they need to figure out is how to cater more to Cam Newton. And in those pressure situations, like, find the plays that work for him and not, like, for what worked for in the past, I guess. Because, like I said, they were just doing a bunch of, like, short little screen passes and stuff like that, which, Cam Newton can do, but it's just that's not his bread and butter. That's, you got to do what's best for him. But as far as, like, the ESPN crew and everyone, harping on Tom Brady being gone, it's like, yeah, we know, he signed in March. It's been like a lot. It's almost been a year since he signed, with the Buccaneers. So we're used to it. A lot of people are on the Cam Newton train, like I am. It's like we're fans of Bill Belichick and the Patriots. Tom Brady, wish him well, and hope they do good things, and they have been kind of. But that's it. We moved on.
Yeah.
On to Cincinnati.
On to Cincinnati.
That's it, man.
Well, with the Patriots out of the playoffs, and we go into week 17, So some interesting things developing in the AFC as far as who gets in, who's out, especially with the loss for Tennessee. I mean, just an absolute blowout in the snow on Sunday Night Football against the Green Bay Packers. So now, with the Colts losing to the Steelers in a horrific game to watch, and the TikToks that followed, Corvette. So we have basically to where if the Tennessee Titans lose, Colts win, Colts are in, or Colts win, they're in, Tennessee's out. If the Browns, if the Dolphins or the Ravens lose, and the Colts win, if any one of those three teams loses, then Colts get in, and whoever loses goes out. And then this is where it gets interesting. Even like ties, like you can get in with a tie. But like, I don't know, man. And they have like some really rough matchups. Like the Dolphins play the Bills. Dolphins have been playing really well, but
Bills are probably going to rest their players.
I would assume so, because they've
Right?
locked the second seed.
Have they? If they have, I think they rest their players.
Let me see here.
No shot they play.
They clinched a divisional title.
Well, no, they haven't locked the second seed because Pittsburgh's number 3. They own the tiebreaker with Pittsburgh, but like I think Pittsburgh loses playing Mason Rudolph.
Because they're going to start Mason Rudolph over Ben. So he'll have a weekend to enjoy himself, literally and metaphorically. But
You know what's gonna be his best friend?
oh my God, for those listening, he pulled up a moisturizer. I was gonna say the incognito tab. That's what I would have said.
Nurse's dry skin, which I'm sure his is.
Something's not gonna be dry after you use it.
God.
Uh,
That's what he did at halftime, bro. I'm telling you. He had to. He was like, "Hey guys, you know what? I know we're down, but go pee real quick, all right? All right, Ben. All right." Like, hey, he's been gone for a while. Where is he? I'll be back. I'll be back.
you hear that?
What is that? Comes back. He's like, "All right, let's do it." He's all pumped. Like, why are your hands sticky, Ben? It's like, yeah, don't worry about it.
Juju's in the corner saying these so many TikToks are on the line with this game, but he won't dance on the logo. Okay.
And yet
Anyways.
they made one right after the. Oh, dude, like.
AFC North champions. You literally sucked. Phillip Rivers is what cost him that game. Who would have thunk it? Anyways, okay, so we have at number 4 Tennessee. They play the Houston Texans, which is a pretty good matchup considering like if you want to take the over on that in betting, because there's no defenses on either side.
And Deshaun Watson's been balling.
Deshaun Watson has been playing really good since like early November. I mean, he's really found his stride. It's just the fact that this team sucks, and their defense is just non-existent. So that's why I'm saying this is a good matchup for offenses. If you're starting any of these players in fantasy, you put them right at the fucking top. I mean, Corey Davis literally put up a goose egg last week. Thanks a lot. But I'm going to put him in this game because Houston Texans have no secondary. And J.J. Watt's going to yell at you if you don't play. By the way, did you watch that?
I did. I felt inspired.
Like, I feel like that is mentioned a lot more in like locker rooms and with other teams. Like that happens to where you call out players. You're like, if you don't want to be here, don't be here. But
That's probably what happened with the Jets. That's why they're winning. I mean, no one likes to lose. And so, like, I think from a fan's perspective, like take the Jets for example, it's like you want them to go 0-16 to get Trevor Lawrence, but as a player, as an athlete, I think Louis Riddick talked about this. Like, you just don't like losing. You don't want to lose, and so you're gonna go out there and try to win every single game. You're not gonna, I'm gonna risk losing my job so this franchise could have find their franchise quarterback. It's like, same thing with the Texans. I mean, yeah, their record isn't amazing, obviously, and they're out of the playoffs, but you still got to play to win. They've only have 4 wins. It sucks, but a lot of games they could have won, which I think hurts more.
Yeah.
that's always hurts more. So I really liked what JJ Watt said. I think it proves to him, like it proves how good of a leader he is, like on the field and off the field, of course. And he's not afraid to hold other players accountable, which I think is great and everything you need.
And with
Well, I
everyone,
think they're gonna get rid of him though, but I mean,
see,
I
I
think
don't,
they
I don't
move on.
think that. I think the idea of him leaving Houston makes sense, and I think it's best for his career.
Yeah.
But I don't think he would want that. For all that
Yeah.
he's done for Houston and the amount of love that they give him, I think him retiring with one team makes all the sense in the fucking world.
Unless he goes to the Steelers, joins his brothers.
That, and now imagine the TikToks there.
Oh my!
Corvette, JJ Watt.
You really think those TikToks would be happening if JJ Watt was there? Like
Yes, because then Juju would like sneak into like a little part of the locker room where no one can find him. Like Antonio Brown when he went Facebook Live after the game, like no one noticed until after.
Mike Tomlin was talking about how they're gonna beat the Patriots next week, and they lost. Yeah, I remember.
Right. Yeah. So I feel like Juju would find a way, or at least some tweets.
But the thing with the TikToks, though, it's like he said, like that was a part of his personality. It's like, dude, like just
TikToks are not a personality trait. It's like
Yeah.
the same person that says like I watch The Office. That's not a personality trait.
so like I think that's why Big Ben, they had that players only meeting, and like the way he handled that whole situation was weird. Like I don't know if you like heard about that, but like he came out in the press conference, was like basically like, yeah, I called a players only meeting and we're good. Like everyone was like, oh,
Well,
okay.
I read a report that said that Big Ben and a lot of the guys on the team didn't know that Juju was dancing on the logos.
Apparently, yeah, and that they found out, and that's why they had that meeting. And and right after, he was like, for the betterment of my team, I'm not going to be doing it anymore, blah, blah, blah.
Which is
whatever.
bullshit because if they would have won those games, like against the Bengals, they would have kept doing it. But
what's
it's
crazy
because he
too-
got leveled by Von Bell and they lost
Oh,
that
yeah.
game.
Yeah.
That's why he apologized.
What's crazy too is like former players have come out and like talked about in the opposing team's locker room at the Pittsburgh Steelers, they have like the logo there, and like every time an opposing team goes there, they're always told like don't step on the Pittsburgh Steelers logo, like we don't do that here, like blah blah. Even in the Pittsburgh Steelers locker room, like former players are like, yeah, that logo is sacred, we don't step on it, you're not supposed to step on it. And then if you see like in all the locker room TikToks that they make, they're all fucking dancing on it and not even realizing that they're stepping on it. So
Yep.
it's like, I mean, maybe they just don't like, they don't care about that stuff, but like as a older person, I guess, I mean, I don't know, it's just, you just don't do that, you respect the logo, and that's like a team, it's like a brand, but that's just me.
I don't know what it is. Like, it's cool to be different. Like, I think Juju's personality is something that the NFL needs. But I just sense that this is going in the direction of what Antonio Brown was in that team.
But see, with Antonio Brown is he was balling every week, and it was like, okay, he did that, whatever, he did
Yeah,
that
if you
now.
back it up, then I can withstand a little bit.
But Juju's not balling. Like, he's not putting up Antonio Brown numbers to be acting like Antonio Brown. Obviously, he's not doing some of the same stuff, but like this whole bringing attention to him, unwanted attention, basically putting a target on his back. Like,
Yeah.
unless he was 100 yards and a touchdown every game, then it'd be like, okay, let him dance. Let the kid dance. But it's not a good look. It's just not a good look. It's not a matter of like, oh, it's affecting his play, it's affecting the team, but it's just not a good look because you're giving the people who don't like you, you're giving them ammunition to attack you, and the people who are kind of have their like doubts about you, you're giving them a reason to not like you, and you're giving other teams a reason to like, hey, all right, you want to dance on our logo? Like Josh Allen, like that whole fucking right before they were about to play.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, they want to fucking dance. We just want to win, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, let's go out there and fucking win. And what did they do? They won. Like,
Yeah.
They dominated the Steelers. It's like, you're just giving them, like, bulletin board material.
I mean, they're getting routed in the first round, right?
Who would they play? Okay.
They would
depends.
play the Ravens right now, but depending on what happens week 17, I mean,
I think Lamar Jackson.
well, I think that defense is playing better. and what
Takes a poop,
everybody
fine.
to take a poop. That defense is finally playing better to what people assume they would play like, and then their offense. Look, I think ultimately what kills the Baltimore Ravens is that if they have to throw the ball, they can't throw the ball.
Well, if Lamar Jackson goes down by 10 points, he has like a losing record, something like that.
Oh yeah, because you sense the frustration whenever he lacks a fast start, and if they can't run the ball because they need to catch up, they're not going to be able to do that.
But what the Steelers do is they start like they start slow.
Yes,
Like,
they do.
So if Baltimore goes up early, they know
It's
how to
over.
hold on to a
It's
lead.
over.
Yeah, doesn't matter how good Big Ben or how much he doesn't matter
But
because Lamar Jackson's like, and he stops mid game, wobbles over,
cramps,
yeah, and then big trust, That's it.
big trust, big
But
trust.
if they win and Buffalo loses, they'd play Cleveland as of right now. But yeah, because if they beat Cleveland, but then Cleveland would be out of the playoffs. If the Steelers beat Cleveland, they're out of the playoffs. Cleveland's out of the playoffs.
That's
Unless-
if Indianapolis loses well, they would get in with a tie, but if the Colts lose, then they're out as well. So I think Cleveland would stay the same. So if both teams lose, then nothing changes. So
if
the Colts need to win, no matter what.
right.
They
right.
need to win
And
or
they need to
tie.
let someone
They need
else
a tie.
lose.
They need a tie as well. They can get in with a tie. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of weird, low key.
I mean,
But
it,
see-
it makes sense because it's a neutral game.
Indianapolis can clinch a playoff berth with an Indy win and a Cleveland loss,
Mm-hmm.
meaning they would take Cleveland's
Yeah.
spot. So then we'd potentially see a rematch of the Steelers and Colts in the wild card game.
And
Because Baltimore would stay the same. If Miami wins, Baltimore wins, they stay the same. Cleveland loses, Indy wins, they move up to that 7th seed. And if Cleveland loses, that means the Steelers won. They move up to 2. 2 would play 7, and then the Bills would play Baltimore. Tennessee would play Miami.
oh my God,
This is like a messy playoff.
have you been watching Sunday Night Football lately?
I have, yeah.
Do you know that guy in the pregame show where it's this new guy and he's very
Cornette.
excited? Sure, yeah, that sounds.
Yeah,
that
he's
sounds-
the one that did the political, when the whole presidential stuff was going on, election night. He was doing the exact same thing, so they got him to Sunday Night Football.
Oh,
He was on Pat McAfee's show.
I didn't know that.
He's a huge Patriots fan
There you go. There you go.
in Boston.
That guy is so interesting.
He's like, and if this team wins, then that decreases the chances by 16%. But if they win, it's like,
I think it's the khaki pants that gets me every time.
I don't know. But I mean, I could do an impression of him here. So right now, the Steelers have a 100% chance of winning the division, 100% chance of making the playoffs. The Ravens have a 90% chance of making the playoffs, and they have less than 1% of a chance to win the division, obviously, because there's only one game left. The Washington football team has 49% chance to make the playoffs and a 49% chance to win the division. Cowboys have 27% chance to make the playoffs, and a 27% chance to win the division.
Now, sir, what's the percentage of Dwayne Haskins going on a different team, and what are the chances of him being at the strip club within 24 hours?
100%.
Okay.
He's
For
already
both,
there.
or for both, or just one?
No, he's already there. He's
Okay.
already there.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Free agent, strip club.
Got you.
Signed, strip club.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Makes sense.
That's it. 100%.
Yeah.
No doubt. That one's easy. Give me something harder.
Let me think.
The Packers have a 72% chance to clinch the first round bye.
I thought they already did.
It says right here, 72% chance. They haven't clinched the first round bye yet.
Interesting. Oh, because they're only one game ahead of New Orleans. I get that. That's okay. So now that we're talking about the NFC, look, ultimately, I think that if Washington plays Alex Smith, they win that game.
Dub. Yeah.
Because Honestly, though, I'd be interested to see what Taylor Heineke, who, by the way, I couldn't figure out what college he went to, is Old Dominion, who is just known for just great quarterbacks, but
Yeah.
Conference USA, UTEP, go Miners.
No.
Oh, and Ka, yeah, North Texas. Mason Fine, where's he?
I thought he was signed to a practice squad. I think like Denver's practice squad, but I don't think he's there anymore.
Which reminds me, what if Washington football team call up Steven Montes off their practice squad? Because on his
Or have him back
Twitter,
up. Do they?
well, I think, okay, so it was, at the beginning of the season, it was Dwayne Haskins, Alex Smith, and Kyle Allen.
But yeah, Kyle Allen's hurt. So.
Kyle Allen's hurt. Dwayne Haskins at strip club. And Alex Smith is banged up, but I think right now I'd say
It's his other leg, right? Like his other calf.
yeah, it's not his is jacked up leg. And I think on his practice squad or on their practice squad, it's Steven Montes. On his Twitter, if you go on his liked tweets, some of them like he liked some tweets that were talking shit about Dwayne Haskins. How it was saying like he can't complete a pass and he can't play quarterback. He liked those tweets.
Put him right here.
Friendly fire. I will find them. But
Maybe he deleted or unliked them.
I guarantee he had to. There's no way that you can just leave that on there. So why not, for El Paso, Texas, you call up Steven Montes. You say, fuck you, Taylor Heineke. Go back to Old Dominion. This is my house. I played at Colorado. Better program. You start Steven Montes. You win the division.
Or you just have him as the backup just in case Alex Smith gets hurt again.
Well, yeah, then you're guaranteeing Taylor Heineke would come in. Because I think that's what they did last week. No.
No. You put him as the backup instead of Taylor Heineke.
I'm okay
You
with
still
that.
bring him up, and you have 3 quarterbacks, and then you sit one, obviously. Only one dresses, and then Alex Smith starts. If for some reason you guys go up, or not you guys, but the Washington football team goes up on Philadelphia and is winning by like 20, you put him in. There you go.
I love it. Then next year, the Cowboys sign him. They say, Dak, go on your way. Andy Dalton, you're old. Steven Montes, you're the guy.
Sucks. Yeah.
Texas grown. Texas forever.
And then Dak Prescott comes to the Patriots. We sign Adam Gase to be our offensive coordinator because Josh McDaniels leaves to be the head coach somewhere else because he wants to be a head coach. We bring in Adam Gase. We bring in Sam Darnold as well as a backup.
Right.
Dak teaches him.
Uh-huh.
We have Dak for a year. Let go of Cam, obviously. Dak plays with us for a year. We send him off somewhere else. Sam Darnold is our franchise quarterback. Sign Jameis Winston to be the backup.
Oh, God. You lost
Sam
me.
Darnold,
You lost
Sam
me.
Darnold gets mono again. Jameis Winston comes in, wins 5 Super Bowls.
Eat those W's, baby. Eat those W's.
That's it.
I think we just commissioned the league.
I see that happening, honestly.
100%. What? That's percentage of that happening? 100%.
95%.
95%. Sorry.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
5% chance that Sam Darnold gets mono again. So, before we get to sign him.
Yes. Yeah. So he's fine. He's fine.
Yeah.
As long as he's not going to strip clubs, he's fine.
Yeah.
Have you seen what the matchup is going to be like for the Rams versus the Cardinals, quarterback-wise?
2 backup quarterbacks.
I
couldn't even tell you who the quarterback is for the Cardinals, honestly.
never heard of them. If you would have told me that like the Cardinals backup was like Carson Palmer, I would have been like, I believe it.
You're like, oh, it's Kurt Warner? Okay.
Oh, okay. That's fine. I got to look this up because I genuinely don't know who these guys are.
Gerald's playing? Okay, that's fine.
I mean, it's probably his last game with the Cardinals.
You think so? You think
because
he
they-
plays or you think he retires?
Where are they? Okay, so the Cardinals need to win and the Bears have to lose
The Bears.
in order for them to make the playoffs because Tampa Bay already clinched a playoff berth as the first wild card. So then the Rams the Cardinals and the Rams play, so then the winner of that automatically gets a playoff spot. But I think Arizona still has a chance to make it to the wild card if Chicago loses, which they're playing Green Bay. They're playing Green Bay. Now, it really depends if they're starting their guys.
Green Bay probably is.
Because they got to clinch the first round bye if you really think about it. Chicago's playing good.
But Aaron Rodgers is
MVP, man. You got to score more than like 43 points. Discount double check.
And he's like...
Yep. Yeah. Just 2 pumps or 3 pumps? Yeah, that's a penalty. So then, yeah, I think... Okay, so Arizona can clinch a playoff berth with Arizona win, or they tie and Chicago loses.
I'm going to take off my jersey real quick.
Okay, yeah, go ahead. I'll keep talking. So that's very interesting. All right, let's see here. Because Jared Goff has a broken thumb. He just had surgery on it yesterday. So John Wolford will start. And then...
Who?
John Wolford. And John Wolford will start for the Rams.
Without a Cooper Kupp.
Without Cooper Kupp, because he's on the COVID list. So Robert Woods and Josh Reynolds will be they're starting guys, and Tyler Higbee.
And what's the other running back? Not Cam Akers, but the other guy?
Well, Cam Akers, I think, is questionable or doubtful for this game. Darrell Henderson also got banged up last week.
He's out.
So then it's Malcolm Brown.
I think Cam Akers is going to play. I think that's what he's been practicing, I think.
He's been banged up, though. Let's see here. So then for former CFL quarterback Chris Streveler for the Arizona Cardinals against the AAF product. That's the American
Association. No. What was the AAF?
I have no clue. Didn't it go under?
Oh, God. Let's see.
And then they said product John Wolford.
Alliance of American Football.
That doesn't exist still, right?
No, it's done.
Jesus Christ. Well, I gave you guys like John Wolford.
After 8 weeks of play, the league's football operations were suspended by controlling owner Thomas Dundon.
Man, oh God, what a matchup that's going to be.
I'm excited.
What time is that game at? It's the afternoon game.
I think you take the under on that, right? Obviously.
Well.
No shot. You take the over. I don't even think... No, you don't touch that one. You just don't touch them.
I could see the Rams not scoring more than like 10 points. Because guess what? Like the way that they succeed is by running the football and running play action. And if Jared Goff doesn't screw up, then they score. But Jared Goff played terribly last week, and now you're putting in a guy from a football association that doesn't exist anymore. You know, no one's ever heard of him. So you're going to rely on him to throw the ball without his number one receiver? And you really can't run the same offense for Arizona because that is no read options. That is no QB draws. I don't know what this Stevler guy can do, but I don't think he's Kyler Murray. And Kenyon Drake can't run the ball to save his life.
That's going to be a shit show of a game, I think.
I'm taking the under on that one. And then, what we got left?
That's going to be like... what if it's like a really good game? What if it's like a shootout? And these quarterbacks just fucking...
No, you can't do that. If you're the Rams defense that has been destroying offenses all year long, and you give up 30 points to John Stevler...
Hey, they don't call him the Stev for nothing.
Right. Yeah, you know your stuff.
Yeah.
And what else? Oh, yeah, the NFC East stuff. So we were talking about this before the podcast started. Like, I don't think Dallas gets in. I think Washington wins because Alex Smith will start. And honestly, I just want to see what the Cowboys defense does.
They've been playing better.
They've been playing really good over the last 3 weeks because they actually lead the league in turnover margin. They have the highest amount of turnovers.
Yeah, you better get some sacks on Daniel Jones. I mean, that
You
offensive
have
line
to. You
is
have
bad.
to. Like,
Bad, dude.
all I want is for a good performance, solid 60 minutes. You get 2 or 3 turnovers because Daniel Jones can't take care of the ball. And I just want you to not give up 20 to 30 points. If you can do that, I think Mike Nolan keeps his job. If Daniel Jones goes for 4 touchdowns and they can't stop the run, which is known in Dallas, then you fire Mike Nolan. That's what I think. I don't care if you make the playoffs or not. That is my want for this game.
I don't think Daniel Jones throws 4 touchdowns. I don't think he throws an interception either. I just think it's like the turnovers you get are probably like forced fumbles. Because
That's what he's known for, of course.
well, because fucking he's like, hut defense is already there on them. Offensive line's like clueless. Like they're like, oh shit, that was my guy. I was supposed to block him. And then they look back and Daniel Jones is like, boom, getting blown out, man. Like it's.
I mean, they had a good stretch to where like
They did. Where everyone was like, oh, the Giants.
because their offensive line was playing better, but it was really because of that defense. You know, not giving up a lot of points, not a lot of yards. I actually liked this defense a lot. I thought coming to the year they were very stacked and talented. But when you can't score points and your defense has to stay on the field a lot longer, then it really doesn't matter. But I'm kind of interested because the secondary for the Giants is really good. James Bradbury versus Amari Cooper is a solid matchup that I'm interested to watch. And then Michael Gallup's been playing really well over these last couple weeks. They finally are utilizing him in a way that I've been waiting for all year long. And then CeeDee Lamb's kind of been silent, but still productive.
Yeah, he's still a threat though, for sure.
And then, of course, it's all going to be a matter of what Ezekiel Elliott does. But
Tony Pollard.
Tony Pollard's my guy.
Huh. But yeah, I think there's no shot unless Jalen Hurts pulls something out and fucking runs, you know, a couple of those, you know, Sunday Night Football.
That's what I like, because I'm hearing that people want it to be switched to where the Giants and Cowboys game was on Sunday Night Football and the Washington games before. And I'm like, no, like, whoever wins from the Giants and Cowboys game wants to cheer for the Eagles on Sunday night, because that's the matter of, like, if you get in or not.
Yeah, pretty much. I think that's going to be, like, a real good, like, Washington's fighting for that playoff spot, you know, and Philadelphia's just kind of like, okay, you know.
And they're at Philly.
Yeah, that's...
And home field advantage isn't that important this year, but...
Now, okay. If the Eagles win, but they're eliminated already, okay.
Yeah, so they have no chance.
Okay. If the Giants win and Washington loses...
Giants get in.
Because they own the tiebreaker, or what? Because that means if Dallas loses and Washington loses, all your records would be 5-10, or 6-10.
Because for the Giants, how would the Giants own the tiebreaker?
That's what I'm trying. Yeah, like difficulty of schedule, strength of schedule. I mean.
Ooh, I think that's it, right? Yeah.
Few moments later.
I think you're confusing me even more.
No. Okay. Watch. Let's say the Giants beat the Eagles. They move up to 6-10, right? Washington.
No. The Giants are playing the Cowboys.
Oh shit! Yeah, Okay, that makes more sense. That's why I was confused. Giants beat Cowboys, right?
Mm-hmm.
They go to 6-10. Dallas goes to 6-10. All right, good. There it is.
But then the Giants have the better divisional.
Washington loses to the Eagles, so then they're at 6-10, right?
Yes.
But because the Giants won, they'd go to 4-2 on the division. Washington, since they lost, they'd go to 3-3 on the division. So that means the Giants would be the champions of the NFC East.
Yes, because
because of the division, they'd be 4-2 in the division.
Plus, I think they own the tiebreaker for the wins.
Them and Washington, or yeah.
What was it? Yeah, the Giants beat Washington early in the year. They actually won both games. So
because you guys would be 2-4 in the division.
Yeah.
So if Washington loses and the Giants win, the Giants are in.
Yeah.
If Washington loses, you guys win, you're in.
Yeah.
W. That's it.
Hey, that's all it took.
Took us like 5 minutes just to
That's
simplify
probably
it
the
right
worst 5 minutes of this podcast ever.
get that out real quick.
Yeah.
Just blur this out.
Oh my God! Why does this happen every year? It comes down to the Week 17 matchups for the NFC East, and I absolutely hate it.
Everyone stinks.
Yeah, they stink. It doesn't matter anyways, because what are we looking at? We're looking at whoever wins has to play Tampa first, probably.
But as of right now, it'd be at. So like. Tampa
And then
would have to
the
review.
NFC East team hosts the game.
That's why.
But I don't think that matters. Like if it's Washington or if it's New York, I don't think they have fans.
Hey, it's playoffs. Anything can
Playoffs.
happen.
Right, yeah. But if it's the Cowboys, they have 30,000 people in the stands. Congratulations during a pandemic.
True.
But it's Tampa.
Unless Tampa loses and the Rams. Oh no, but they have the tiebreaker with the Rams either way. Never mind. Who's Tampa playing?
They're playing the Falcons. Again.
Oh, again?
Yeah. Well, they're in the division.
Didn't they just play them this week?
Yeah. They for certain teams, it was like they play them twice in the last 4 weeks.
Oh, they played Detroit this past week. I forget. Yeah.
Yeah, they absolutely murdered the fucking Detroit Lions.
Jeez. And they play Atlanta. Oh man.
How can you put one of your few games on Saturday, like Saturday afternoon, or just Saturday in general? How do you put Tampa Bay versus Detroit as one of the Christmas weekend games, and it's 47-7?
I think at the beginning of the year, when they were planning this out. Yeah, I have no fucking idea because the Lions didn't look good at the beginning of the season either.
Like the idea of them playing on Thanksgiving doesn't really matter anymore. Like I really think that if you're the NFL, you stop doing this like you have to do a Cowboys game, you have to do a Lions game on Thanksgiving. I get it's a tradition, but do it like the NBA does it. Like just put stacked matchups that make sense going to the weeks prior and say this is going to be a good game for that week.
So next season, what would your Thanksgiving Day games be? 3 of them. 3 games. What would they be?
Well, I think they already have it set to like which divisions they play.
No, but it was you. But if like you were Roger Goodell.
I'm doing Green Bay versus New Orleans. Or I'm doing Green Bay versus Kansas City.
You're going to have them play back to back? Wow.
I honestly, I think the Super Bowl matchup right now is Green Bay versus Kansas City.
Yeah, me too. I like Green Bay. I'm rooting for Green Bay.
And if you're in the AFC, just do Kansas City versus Buffalo.
Yep.
Because that
I see that.
I would love that game right now. Or, I mean, Pittsburgh versus Baltimore is always good.
Well, not on that Wednesday. It wasn't. But
On that Wednesday, it was not.
it was bad. Bad football.
Look,
Give
I
me
saw
Tampa and the Saints again. That's what I want.
now because both times this season the Saints just completely controlled Tampa Bay.
Yeah, but on a Thanksgiving Day, like it's like all right.
Well, it makes sense.
feel
Tom
like-
Brady versus Drew Brees. I like
I
that.
feel like there'd be a lot of hype, like it's not gonna happen,
Give me the two
this-
worst teams in football on Thanksgiving Day.
That's what the Pro Bowl should be.
That's what the Pro Bowl should be. You should earn
First pick.
your first round pick. Like the idea of tanking, it makes sense on paper, but like we just said, like players don't want to be 0-16. They don't want to be 1-15. So if you want to be the first overall pick and say we earned an opportunity to get the best player in the draft, you do it by saying fuck you and your Pro Bowls, and you put me against the second worst team in football according to their record. And if you lose, you're just so bad that you don't even deserve the first overall pick.
And you get the second pick.
We win, so we get first pick. Because out of all the bad teams, we're not the worst.
But then you get into the whole, oh, they have to play an extra game. NFLPA is like, no, we don't like that. But it's like, hey, think of it as a playoff game for your future. You know, like
Yeah, give your season some meaning, right? Like if you're gonna tank all year long, you're preparing for that Pro Bowl game.
exactly. Like you're like, okay, all right. And you win, you get the first round pick, you're chilling.
Like instead of doing these like when it's not COVID, like doing these London games or these bad Thursday night games, just give me one bad game at the end of the year. Because it doesn't make sense to do the Pro Bowl before the Super Bowl.
Put a lot of meaning behind it.
Put a lot of meaning behind
it.
it.
Game good.
Yeah.
Like bad teams, if there's like a really like, hey, they're playing for the #1 pick. It's like, oh, gotta watch this. You know, it might be, they might suck. Both teams might suck, but it's who sucks less is what gets the first round.
It's your toilet. It's your toilet bowl.
That's really what it is. That's all it is.
And I don't mind watching that.
I'd watch.
Yeah, because I don't watch the Pro Bowl. I don't care about the Pro Bowl.
I don't think anyone does.
But I will care about the Jets versus Jacksonville.
Gardner Minshew's. Or Mike Glennon.
Long neck Mike Glennon.
Versus Sam Darnold. Hey.
Frank Gore at 87 years old. Still.
He's not playing. He's not going to play.
Yeah, why is he out?
Lungs, I think, or something like that.
Lungs?
Something like that, I think.
Just for having lungs or
stomach or chest? Something like that.
Injury. And we'll probably end it on this. This is probably his last game in the NFL. And he won't even play it.
I think he plays another season.
There's no way. I mean, if you're the Jets, you don't keep him, right?
I think you do. He hasn't been bad.
Just take Zeke. Just take him. Please. Take that contract.
It didn't work with Le'Veon Bell, dude.
He will end his career with exactly 16,000 rushing yards. You can't fuck it up, right? Like, you don't want to play and end with 16,041.
Unless he has, like, a monster game and it's, like,
Yeah.
200 yards.
Like 200, even 100. Like that. But, nah, that still doesn't look that clean.
Are those rushing yards or, like, all scrimmage yards?
No, it's just rushing yards.
Oh, fucking just throw the ball to him then, you know?
But he is out due to a lung injury. So are we talking like Tyrod Taylor or
Rip Tyrod.
how many total yards has Frank Gore accumulated in his career?
Probably a lot.
Give me the Frank Gore stats. Give me some
I think
hard Gore stats.
Hardcore. He plays one more season, I think. How old is he?
Fucking 87.
Probably old.
It says he's 37.
37. Oh.
Him and Larry Fitzgerald are the same age. I would have assumed that Frank Gore is way older.
He's only getting paid $1 million.
Well, that's the veteran minimum, right? I think.
Yeah, but he's good. Yeah.
Rushing and receiving. For his career, he has 16,000 rushing yards. And in receiving, he has 3,985.
Wow, he has a perfect 16,000 rushing yards. That's crazy.
So here's what you do. Hold up. Let me do the math really quick. Plus 3,985.
You have him carry for no yards.
And you throw for 15 yards.
Yeah.
That will put him at 20,000 total yards in his career. And how long has he been in the league? Isn't it? It's 15. It's 15.
Yeah.
Damn. So here's what you do. No, screw that. In his 16 years in the NFL, he has 16,000 rushing yards. You never give him the ball. You just sign him. You just say, stay home. In case of an emergency, we'll get you. But we won't give you the ball. So that way it's 16 years, 16,000 yards. And if you want to, this is where we're going to end it. We're just going on a fucking rant. Frank Gore Jr., who is playing right now at Southern Miss, And I think he's a freshman. Could be wrong. He's a freshman. I think he has to stay another year before he can declare. And then you go with him, like LeBron's going to do with his son. You don't play Frank Gore. You play Frank Gore Jr. And they're both like on the depth chart. And that's it. Like, you just end your career playing one season with your son, which has never been done in the NFL.
And then he becomes the running back coach and coaches his son.
Yo.
Then they win 6 Super Bowls. And that, my friends, is the inconvenient truth. That's his name.
Take that for data. Wow.
That's actually his nickname, the inconvenient truth. That's
Wait, who? Frank Gore or his son?
Frank Gore.
The inconvenient truth?
Yeah.
I mean, if that's an
Indicated
MMA
plan.
fighter, I am not betting on him to win any fights.
He plans to play until or close to his age 40.
So, I mean, I think his main goal is to play with his son.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah.
Like, that has to be the goal. Because
Said
there's
he
no
wants
way.
to resign? Oh my god. He was forced out last game due to a lung contusion.
Lung contusion, man. I mean, when you're getting old, you need that oxygen.
I don't think that's what a lung contusion is. But alright. I looked up lung contusion. The first thing that comes up is Frank Gore. It's just a bruised lung. That's all it is. He experienced blunt trauma to the chest. God.
Well, add on 11 fractured ribs and you're Drew Brees.
Hey, Taysom Hill's their quarterback. Don't at me.
I'm surprised you didn't say Jameis Winston.
Nah, because Jameis Winston's the future quarterback of the Patriots.
If it's between Cam Newton and Jameis Winston, I'm
Cam
taking
Newton.
I'm taking Jameis Winston.
I mean,
Because I mean, at least you're getting a balanced quarterback. I mean, you understand my argument, right? Oh, here we go. That's how we end it.
You know, Cam Newton's our guy. He's putting us in the best position to win football games. You know, you got to respect the run. That's it. And Cam Newton gives us the best position to win.
Thank you for watching episode 198 of the Bubble Let Sports Podcast. Thank you, Eddie.
Okay, we're done here. Thanks.
Yeah, hold on. Tell me who's your top 5 quarterbacks right now, dead or alive, huh? And how much do you care about a ring if the best player got carried by the team? Now, would you lose if it been a better draft pick? And do you cuss when your team get their ass kicked? Now, do you keep it classy or you keep it ratchet?